President Bola Tinubu has now departed Abuja on a working visit to Paris. According to a statement by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, the president aims to assess his administration's midterm performance and key milestones during his time in France. The working visit will also serve as an opportunity for President Tinubu to review the progress of ongoing reforms, engage in strategic planning, and deepen ongoing reforms ahead of his administration's second anniversary. Now, notably, the president's commitment to economic reforms has yielded significant results, with the Central Bank of Nigeria reporting a substantial increase in net foreign exchange reserves to $23.11 billion. While the president is scheduled to return to Nigeria in a fortnight, he has now traveled to France a record 6 times since being declared president. Now, Ortega Oga is Senior Special Assistant to President Bola Tinubu on New Media. He joins me now to speak on the president's trip to France and his reshuffle of the NNPCL. Ortega, thank you very much for joining us. Let's welcome you in.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Grand. Good to have you here tonight. Now, brief overview of President Tinubu's working visit to France. What trade and investment opportunities will be explored here?
So I think first things first is to recognize why the president is going on this trip. Like Bayo Onanuga said in a statement that I put out today, the president is going on a working visit to reevaluate and review midterm progress and, refresh and see how we can improve upon what we've done before. We'll look at key milestones. We're going to look at, what the ministers, what his government has done, and, plan strategically for the second half of this term. And I think it underscores Mr. President's drive, to always put Nigeria first.
So, Ortega, it's not the first time he's traveled to France, a record 6 times now. What outcomes can we expect from Tinubu's working visits to France this time?
As you're very much aware, the president's last visit to France, which you referred to in your opening, was for a state visit upon the invitation of the French president, President Macron. This time around, Mr. President is going on a working retreat, personal retreats. It would have some meetings, which the state also brief the press upon when those meetings are going on. But beyond that, it's more important that we recognize there's having this trip so that you can think and look at how well we're fed and plan for the future.
Now, Ortega, I'm really curious as to who exactly the president would be seeing, which officials he'd be meeting in France, and what areas of focus he'd be discussing during his meetings with the French officials. If you can give us those details, please.
Again, I'll refer you to the press release and your opening, where we said the president is going for a retreat, a personal retreat, a working visit, where he'll be doing more of reflecting on his work and, planning for the second half of his term.
Is there a special focus?
Any other information that is missing would be informed to the press as it went due.
The lunacy and the idiocy of this Bola Tinubu's trip to France is alarming. I'm not sure if you feel about the same way. But I know the news is not new anymore anyway, because we're all used to the fact that, and we've known for a time that he's traveled to France, but I just wanted to take some time out to ask you this question, how you feel about this trip to France by the current president, Bola Tinubu of Nigeria. Whether or not you are happy with it. But before we go into that run, like I always say, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe, be part of this. And if you've been following and you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe and also recommend this content to others so that they can join in making aware and spreading the awareness to more Nigerians about the need for proper leadership that we deserve in Nigeria and as Nigerians. Again, I call this the lunacy and the idiocy of this Bola Tinubu's France trip. At a time where there are killings all over the country, at a time where Nigerians are struggling to feed, at a time where the economy is not working, a time where people are not sure whether or not if they go to bed and they'll wake up the next day alive because they will be attacked. A time when Nigerians are traveling on the road and they're getting kidnapped and ransom paid. Under this administration, the president says he's going to France. Rather, the president has gone to France to go and examine himself and assess himself, assess his administration, assess his ministers, and see how well they're doing in France. So he will be in France, look into Africa, look into Nigeria and say, let me look at you from France with all the chaos in your country that I've caused or that I've been a president over, and I will then decide whether or not I have been doing well by you or I have been performing well, and I will now prepare myself for the remaining 2 years of my first 4-year term. That's the idiocy of the trip. That's why I said the idiocy of the foolishness or the lunacy of it. Please watch this to the end, okay? That's why I want to ask you this question. What was your reaction like when you found out from the news that Tinubu had traveled to France or was traveling to France at the time when he announced the news for a personal retreat to, give himself a scorecard as to how well he has done? What was your reaction when you found out? Was it an indifferent reaction like, well, I'm used to it anyway, so it's nothing new? Or was it one where you feel like, this is what we told Nigerians, this is what's going to happen? Incompetence. Is that the way you felt? Was it something about rage that you wish you had gotten the candidate you voted for to be president? Or if you're a Bola Tinubu supporter, you feel he's due one to rest because obviously the chaos in Nigeria is just too much for one man to handle. So he needs to rest his head so that he can continue well when he comes back after 2 years, after 2 weeks, sorry. So I ask you again the question. For me, it speaks volume of the kind of leaders that we have and the things that we've accepted as the people from our politicians. No sane country with people be dying in the country, the president takes a 2-week trip to go and assess himself and refresh himself. 2 weeks. Your people are dying every day. They've been killed in their homes, in their farms. They've been kidnapped every day. You took a trip for 2 weeks to go and what? Look at how well you're performing. The scorecard is at home already. They already told the president that it was terrible. But he says he wants to go to France to go and find out whether or not he is really terrible, or he wants to assess what he has done right or wrong before he comes back home and then speak. Listen, this man has gone to France more times than he's spoken to Nigerians since he got elected, according to INEC. The president has been to France more times than he's spoken to Nigerians. Imagine that. In a country where the man called a state of emergency, he said there was chaos in the state. He put a sole administrator in there and he jetted out to France because he feels like we've now accepted and captured the state, River State. The chaos that is going on in our country. But the chief security officer leaves the country amidst the chaos. Listen, if you want to imagine it that way, because when you say the president is gone for a retreat, yeah? Imagine that you have a police inspector general and there is a protest going on. It doesn't matter whether the police inspector general is on leave or whatnot. He must come back immediately. That's what it means. So when you're the chief security officer of the country, which is the president, when there's unrest in your country, you go nowhere. But our president leaves our country and leaves it in the hands of somebody else. Look at the special assistant. It can't really go beyond the script. But it just tells us we have to go and examine what we've done so far to do right by Nigerians. Nigerians are not happy with your administration. So we should just make sure that we speak to the French government. Make him one of your citizens so he doesn't need a visa anymore to come to your country. So I want to ask you this question. What do you think? How did you feel? Were you happy about this trip when you found out? Were you happy about the fact that, yeah, president needs it anyway? So put that in the comment section. In the midst of all this insecurity and killings that's happening in Nigeria and the kidnappings, are you happy when you saw it? can people around you even feed? How are you coping? How are you helping your family members who are struggling and friends and relatives? If you're well to do, then that's fine. But how do you feel with the economy so far in relation to the president of Nigeria taking a trip to go and unwind and rest, and as a working trip? Six times he's been to France, more times than that's more time than he has addressed you as a people, or has addressed us as a country. So that's what I want to ask you guys today. This is our opportunity to start to make other people aware that we deserve better leadership. We deserve better leaders, not these questionable characters that we've now come to accept as normal. Abnormality, let's stop making abnormality a norm. Let's stop making mediocrity a norm. When we go for the next election, let's make sure we question the character of the people we're electing. Because if we don't, they will inflict pains on us. That's what is happening right now. The economic pains that we're receiving from this current administration, it's not about reform. It's got nothing to do with reform. It's got everything to do with competence and the capacity and the character of the individuals managing the society that we live in as Nigerians. Imagine that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom away for holiday for 2 weeks in the midst of chaos. Imagine that. Imagine even Emmanuel Macron, the country where the president went to right now, is in chaos and he leaves for 2 weeks. For 2 days alone, they will impeach him and say for 2 weeks. Such audacity of incompetence, really. That's what we've seen in display. And things they realize that we can do nothing about. Let's make sure we make our voices heard in 2027. Don't be quiet. Join this awareness. Subscribe, like, and share. Help other people realize that they deserve better. You don't need to beg other people to give you contract. You should be able to apply for one, bid for one. You don't need to know anyone to get a job. That's what Nigerians and Nigerian government have reduced Nigerians to, where you need a man, no man to do things. That's why they know when they sit in place of authority, they make you depend on them. So as I say, I just come to rant. So let me know your ranting in the comment section, what you think about the questions I asked. Again, if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and put your comment in the comment section about what you feel about the trip. And also, if you've been following us and you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe. And let us know in the comment section what you feel about this trip, if you're happy about it. As always, God bless you and catch you up in the next video. Bye-bye for now.